All right. Well, good evening, incoming sixth grade students and families. And thank you for joining us this evening for an orientation of middle school life in Center Grove. My name is Dr. Davin Harpe, and I'm the principal here at Center Grove Middle School North. And in just a few minutes, you'll also meet Mr. Craig Smith, who's the principal at Middle School Central. He's a great colleague and also a great friend. Mr. Smith and I do this middle school orientation together. We work really hard together to make sure that both middle schools provide a guaranteed exceptional educational experience to all of our middle school kids in our community. And so you'll see us do many things like this together as your years in middle school continue. Mr. Smith, you'll go to that next slide there. We combine this presentation so that you get to see how similar to identical both schools really are. You're going to get an exceptional educational experience, whether you attend Middle School Central or Middle School North. And before I hand it over to Mr. Smith, I'd like to introduce some important people to get to know at Middle School North. So our assistant principal is Jake Holder. We have a dean of student whose name is Mr. Jeff Mendenhall. Our guidance director is Mrs. Angela Strimming. Now, our guidance counselors will help you with course selections, advice, and any obstacles you might face during your time here. So you'll want to get to know them very well. Our athletic director is Mr. Joe Higginson, and we have a lot of outstanding and very supportive parent-teacher organization that is led by co-presidents Mrs. Alyssa Casper and Mrs. Sabrina Johnson. All of these people, including myself, cannot wait to meet our new Middle School North students, and we look forward to helping you however we can. And now let's hand it over to Mr. Smith and learn about our friends to the south at Middle School Central.
Hello, everyone. So happy to join into what is our new normal for right now, which are these virtual experiences. And we're so glad you could join us tonight. It's amazing to have, I don't know where we're at, Dr. Harpe, 300 plus individuals joining us live. So we so appreciate your time. And if there are any of our incoming current fifth graders that are going to be sixth graders out there watching right now, we say special hello to you. I know we are both excited to have you join our schools, and we are hoping that tonight one of the big things that this does is reduce some of those anxieties as you think about transitioning from your elementary school to our middle schools, and at least give you the opportunity to put one face that you'll feel comfortable with coming into our buildings next year as sixth graders. So without further ado, again, I'm Craig Smith, proud principal of Middle School Central, joined by a wonderful staff, and here are just a few. Assistant principal here is Julie Lawson. You'll get to know her pretty well as she sends out information about scheduling. That's what our assistant principals, as you see their names for both of our schools, are very focused on. Our deans, our dean at Middle School Central is Mr. Chris Griffin. One of the things that I like to highlight about our deans is that they really focus on positive behavior supports. And yes, they are the person who champions both our consequences and discipline, but they also champion everything that we do in supporting the positive things that we do for kids for doing great things. In our world of athletics, Jamie Wingler is our athletic director here at Middle School Central. And I just realized I skipped over an important individual, which was our guidance director, Mr. Drew Sager. And he, as Dr. Harpe already shared, is going to be that team that supports students in their scheduling, their social emotional growth, and all of those things as they transition into our middle schools. Last but not least, in our PATO world, we have President Darcy Fosnot and Vice President Becky Lawler. And again, we welcome lots and lots of parent participation. Don't think that elementary is where that stops. We welcome that here at the middle school level, and we look forward to you being an active part of what we do.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And one thing that I also want to mention is if you do have questions, you are welcome to ask those questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. We hope to be able to just kind of naturally answer a lot of your questions through our presentation tonight, but we certainly we'll save some time for some answering of some other questions as well. So talking a little bit about our vision at our Center Grove Middle School North and Middle School Central schools. Both middle schools share the same vision of creating exceptional educational experiences for all students. So we teach the same guaranteed and viable curriculum for each course at grades 6, 7, and 8. And our teachers work together on best instructional delivery practices each week and almost on a daily basis. We also celebrate the gift and the importance of the many fantastic backgrounds that our students have. We all love our students, and we want to continuously provide the affirmation that they are cared for, and that they belong at our schools. And so we use the information that we know about our students to continuously reshape our instruction and how we connect with them daily.
Thank you, Dr. Harpe. Transitioning over to the missions of both of our schools. We both have separate missions, but what we realized and what we would like to make certain that you are aware of is that we work very hard together to find where our academic worlds and the social and emotional world of our students collide, which shouldn't surprise you. It's that middle school age. That great adolescent age here between the wonderful ages of 11 and 14, where we definitely see a lot of things that are grounded, obviously in relationships, but as we ground in relationships, we really are focused on that social growth, emotional growth, and absolutely where all of that comes together in academic growth in both of our schools. So just like Dr. Harpe shared, we really will focus first and foremost on the caring and the belonging of each one of our students, and then make sure that we are supporting that social, emotional, and academic puzzle that will all come together into this magic we call middle school.
All right, thank you very much. And so we work really hard to communicate with all of our families in as many different ways as possible. The most important thing that you can do to receive that communication is to keep your phone number, email address, and also your home address updated in Skyward. If you already have a student enrolled in Center Grove, then you already have a Parent Square account. I would highly recommend that you download this Parent Square app if you carry a cell phone. Through that app, you can choose different options to receive communication, including push notifications, text messages, email, etc. Many other ways here that you can stay up to date, which include our websites. Both of our websites are listed here on this particular slide. Both schools have Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts. So that's a great way to kind of look for us, and you can kind of see our usernames there at Center Grove MSC and at Center Grove MSN. Both schools list our assignments online. So that will be a very, very important thing to do is go on our website, look at our assignment hotlines on each of our websites, and you may even want to make that a home screen on your phone or other device so that you can keep up to date with what the teachers are listing as our students' assignments throughout the week. And that would be it. So thank you.
A little fun. I just had at Boiler1234 jump right into one of our accounts here at Middle School Central. So how about that? A little shout out there from somebody who took your advice, Dr. Harpe, right away. So moving on to our safety and security here at both schools. What you will learn very quickly is that we take security and the safety of our students as step one in everything we do. All of our doors each and every day are locked and kept locked and are only opened for when we bring students in first thing in the morning, get everybody settled, and then we immediately go back into that secure campus. So at both of our schools, at our front door where you see kind of our welcome mat, We have a wonderful group of office staff that'll welcome you once you get to our doors. And it's been a little different through the pandemic, but what we hope is afterwards that you're going to once again be able to come up to those doors, be greeted with a smile, be welcomed into our buildings. But we definitely want you to know that there is a layered buzzing system that is utilized to bring folks in that we know are supposed to be in our school and here for the wonderful things that we do for kids. Our visitors all go through a process where they're screened using our lobby guard system that utilizes your picture ID as you are welcomed at our welcome mat there at our front door with our receptionists. And then once all of that clears, again, in hopefully a post-COVID world, we'll be able to bring you in and be an active part of our schools. Our first opportunity that I think we're looking forward to that happening is this summer when we are able to pass out schedules and maybe let you come in and tour our buildings instead of doing everything virtual like you're seeing here tonight. We definitely want you to go back to that website that we referenced and make sure that you see our pickup and drop off procedures. That's very important in both of our buildings. We definitely want to make sure that if you are planning on walking, that you understand that at Middle School North, there is a no walking policy due to their limited sidewalk situation at Middle School North. And at Middle School Central, you must get a written note from your parent, and we will produce a walking pass that you will have to have and show. And that really is for you to go from our school over to the high school as needed. But we really would prefer that you're picked up, dropped off by car, or more safely and purposefully utilizing our transportation system here in Center Grove. We will continue in the moment to follow all current COVID-19 procedures and guidelines. Those are also updated on our Center Grove website regularly. So just keep an eye on those things throughout the summer so that you can see what that will look like as we get closer to those dates that we can welcome you into our wonderful school buildings. So again, please know that this component of safety and security is very, very important to us. And we look forward to keeping your students safe so then they can stay in that right mindset to learn.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. We also know for attendance that our students who spend more time in the classroom perform better and enjoy more school. But when kids are truly sick, they should definitely stay home. And we know from the past year, basically, that how important that is. We also know that because of all of the days that our kids have missed due to COVID-19, every day counts. Every day counts that we can be in person or on the virtual screen with our teachers. And so we've shared just a little bit of general attendance research with you that's used throughout our country. In this graphic, it shares that 9 or fewer absences would be the ideal range for attendance. Most of our students miss less than 5 days. Of course, this year, as you know, has been certainly an exception. But we also know that 10 to 17 days of absence puts our students at risk. And so at that point, we typically, in a typical year, will work very closely with parents and guardians to support the child however we can to help our families overcome any obstacles that may be keeping our students home and not able to come to school or join us on the computer screen. We want to work with you as a partner to help our kids attend as many days as we possibly can. We'd ask you to please review all of our attendance information and call the attendance hotline in the handbook for your school when your child is absent. That phone number will be listed in the attendance hotline for you. Also, providing a note from the doctor's office, if you go to the doctor, will excuse the absence. So there are other types of excused absences also noted in the school handbook when you get that. So If attendance for your child has been a challenge in the past, you can visit www.attendanceworks.org for helpful resources, or you could also call our guidance counselors who can come up with a support plan with you early this school year.
So we're really excited now to share what that day in the life is going to look like here at both Middle School North and Middle School Central. This is such an exciting time for us in the lives of children. I know for some of you out there, it might scare you just a little bit. May be that you haven't had a middle schooler before, and this is kind of scary to know that there's so much going on physically. There's going to be so much stuff going on chemically in their bodies during this time. But I want to assure you, we're here for you. This has been the business of Dr. Harpe and myself, and our staff is passionate, maybe even a little crazy to want and be here each and every day for students that are experiencing all that wonderful physical and chemical, magic that's happening during this time of their life. But really, just want you to know that we're here to support you and be there. This is that time in their in their lives that really they'll 1 minute be putting their head on your shoulder saying how much they care and love being around you, and the next moment they don't want to be seen within 3 miles of you, and that's okay because that is typically normal. And when you have those questions and you're just wondering, is this really what should be happening at this time in my child's life, that's when we do want you to reach out to us and definitely get our support systems in place for you. And speaking of those support systems, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Harpe so he can share how our Student Services Department is going to be here to support all of this journey, both as you come into our 6th grade world, but also travel for these next 3 years with our teams.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And so, as I shared before, our student services, our guidance counselors will help in many different ways, including getting our 6th graders signed up for their courses and also just supporting our kids in their academic, social, and emotional needs throughout their middle school years. Our counselors also help our kids with different resources such as tutoring or other basic needs. We also help families as well. So please don't hesitate to give us a call and work with us. If you're at Middle School North and you are a incoming 6th grader with the last name of A through L, your guidance counselor will be Angela Strimming. Mrs. Strimming is the person in the middle of the Middle School North picture there with the dark hair and the jean jacket on. And she will be your counselor all 3 years while you're at Middle School North. So in 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. And if your last name begins with M through Z, your guidance counselor for all 3 years will be Mrs. Leaf. And Mrs. Leaf is the counselor who is on the far right in the tan sweater in the Middle School North picture. And I'll ask Mr. Smith to go ahead and introduce the Middle School Central counselors.
Absolutely. So on the right side of your screen, you'll see our team that's made up of 2 guidance counselors and a social worker. On the left side, you have our guidance director, Drew Sager. He works with our grade 7 and 8 students. In the middle, you have Mrs. Tanya Brooks, who is also a guidance counselor on our team. And on the far right, this is Miss Micah Hayes, who is the social worker here at Middle School Central. All right, so you may be wondering, boy, those schools look awful big. And how in the world do we make these schools that will house somewhere probably around 1,200 students as we go into next school year, plus or minus? How do we take those big places and try to make them small and feel like a community, like a family? And the magic word here is teaming. Each one of our students, your children, will be placed on an academic team. And that team is made up of a certain, we use colors. So for example, in our world over here, it might be blue, might be yellow, might be orange. Those are the colored teams that you may have if you're at Middle School Central. Dr. Harpe, do you have those colors off the top of your head for grade 6 that maybe I don't have on my reference that you want to share?
Yeah, we have teams, a red team, a white team, and a silver team.
Awesome. So those are going to be the color combinations that you're going to be looking for as you come in this summer, hopefully. Pick up those schedules. Those teams are made up of 3 to 4 teachers. Those 3 to 4 teachers are going to shepherd your students through their 6th grade experience. And they will teach them math, they will teach them language arts, they will teach them science, and they will teach them social studies. That'll make up their core team classes, and they will rotate to those teachers. And those 3 or 4 teachers, even though we each have anywhere from probably 10 to 12 6th grade teachers as a whole, you will get to know as a family those 3 to 4 core teachers. And they will make sure that those academic, those social, those emotional needs are being met in an academic setting. So to give you an idea, there's usually between 90 and 120 students on each of those teams. So just as I shared at the beginning of this slide, it really takes that group of 1,200 total students in 3 grades, brings it down to that 350 to 400 students per grade. And then by team, takes it down to where the students feel that sense of community and family and ownership in pockets of 90 to 120 students. In both of our schools, those are the same students that they eat lunch with, and then they go out with all of their grade level into the world of electives, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit, into their UA classes. These core teachers will be the ones that take them through their general ed coursework, their core coursework. It will involve and incorporate honors coursework if you happen to qualify for honors. It also will support any of our students that have special education needs. And specifically, we both serve students that have English as a second language. And if those students are provided direct services, they actually come to Middle School Central. So that gives you a little idea of how we serve our students on teams, specifically in our honors programming. Just so that you're aware, our math and our language arts honors programming continues in grade 6, and our honors science programming begins in grade 7. So that gives you an idea of kind of all of the academic pathways that we begin to establish here in middle school, and then work really hard to build student skills up so that they can access even greater strides once they cross over to our high school programming at Center Grove High School.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. And I would just add on the teaming topic that all of our teams are grouped in a very diverse way. And so there's not just one team that has all of the honors courses, for example. So all the different types of courses and services that we provide for our kids in 6th grade are spread out on each of our teams. So when I look at, we're going to look at scheduling now, middle school scheduling, and I can tell you that most schools do versions of a block schedule, which means that your child will have around 90 minutes a day of English language arts and math. And then they typically will have a 3rd block of science or social studies. Science and social studies tend to flip-flop every other day for that block C, or depending on what your student's schedule is, it could be the block A or B. So there are 3 blocks. And then your student will have an opportunity for electives. The first elective that all of our 6th graders will take is music. And so our music teachers have already begun to create videos and started to reach out to the elementary schools to show our incoming 6th graders the difference between orchestra, band, and choir. And all of our students will be given a link on which they can visit a website and make their actual choice of their music class. In addition to that music class, our sixth graders will have an opportunity to choose between tech ed, which is a very 3D oriented kind of class, a lot of computer work, a lot of work on geometric shapes and different 3D projects, art, physical education, or STEM. The biggest difference between elementary and middle school is, in fact, that our students will be switching classes and they'll be rotating to the different blocks and the different electives. One of the things that you can look forward to that we'll be posting very soon is that both of us did a virtual tour of our buildings, all of the important things that our sixth graders would need to be able to know about. And so our students and our families can be viewing those virtual tours of our buildings very soon. They'll be on our websites and they'll also be pushed out. And we'll talk about some other open house opportunities in future slides.
So as we shared earlier, our dean of both of us with our deans of students really champion the recognition of our students and building up the positive behavior supports that are in place in both of our schools, and both of our administrative teams really challenge ourselves each and every year on making sure that students are recognized, and we are really just celebrating their great choices, their excellence in academics. And in front of you right now, you're seeing some of the opportunities that we both work through in our buildings. We both are super excited monthly to celebrate those students that are making good choices and doing really well in their academics with our Student of the Month, straight A lunches. We both celebrate our students and with their performance in honor roll. I know at Middle School North, they have what are called pride coupons. We have what are called champ cards. This is our behavioral currency, if you will, for our students to be able to utilize those things and get several opportunities. And specifically here at Middle School Central, we'll draw those champ cards out and recognize them on our live TV announcements. Our teams, we shared how it takes the big school and brings it down small. That is a way that our teams then take the celebrations and these recognitions down to their level. And I know that they do small celebrations with their teams and also communicate that out to you as parents as well. Dances were unfortunately and socials not something we were able to do a lot this year, but I know we'll fire those back up into both of our buildings just as soon as we possibly can once we get the green light again to have bigger social events. We both focus a lot on our responsibility that we want our students to carry on through all of these processes. So if they're doing well within their responsibility logs, or specifically a 100-point club, whatever that might be, where students build up their ways in which they are showcasing how they are navigating a positive way, that is what you can see at both of our schools.
Okay, so there's many ways to get involved at both of our schools. You can see on this slide the different opportunities that both schools have for our kids. We talk about an extended school day, which we provide as many opportunities for tutoring as we possibly can. You can see the different sports there. We have a fall sports season of girls golf, girls and boys cross country, and boys tennis. And then in the winter, our sports are wrestling, girls and boys swimming and diving. And then in the spring, we have boys golf, girls tennis, and boys and girls track. We do also have additional clubs, academic, musical, and activity clubs. Both schools have a National Junior Honor Society. We have a student council. The student council members, I know at Middle School North and I believe at Central, have an opportunity to apply for student council when they get to school in August. There's an art club, a book club, drama club. Both of our schools just put on a fantastic play Middle School North put on um, Aladdin, and Middle School Central, what was your play?
It was Annie Jr.
Annie Jr. And they were very fantastic. We're always proud of our kids when they take the stage and perform for our community. Yearbook Club, CGTV, which is, both schools basically have a news channel for our morning announcements. We have spell bowls, academic Super Bowls, and robotics teams here as well. So a lot of ways to get involved.
Hope you're seeing it's all about connection and finding all of those ways for your student to be active here at both of our middle schools, and a way that you can connect and be active in both of our schools is through our parent-teacher organization. This is the way when we talk about how we celebrate our students and how we build in all of those opportunities to support our positive behavior structures. It's all about how our PTO supports us. So this is how some of our monetary pieces come into play to support and champion the great work that our students are doing. So whether that be through our PTO membership dues, concession stand sales, spiritware that our schools offer to our families. Box tops, I know, are a big thing still here in our middle schools. Middle School North, I believe, has a Dine to Donate component. And then what do they do once they have some of those opportunities where they bring in those funds? One of the biggest things that they do for our kids is utilize the Fast Track program, which provides supplies and different things to families in need, which is fantastic. They utilize some of those funds for our teachers when they write grants for the wonderful educational opportunities that they're providing in both of our buildings. And then they meet with both principals regularly so that they can identify the other needs that come up throughout a school year. I'll share this next slide for Dr. Harpe to kind of share how that looks.
Just another look at our PTO. Here are the different ways that you can volunteer for our parent-teacher organization, the different positions that we have as well. You can join both of our PTOs through our website. Both of our PTOs have Facebook pages. And during our open house and schedule pickup day, both of our PTOs will have a table where you can meet our current officers and sign up to be a member of our PTO and share any interests that you have in helping out in any of the committees and so forth. I would recommend that you attend as many meetings as you can. This year, our PTO meetings were a lot more convenient, I would say, in that both schools utilized Zoom. And so we had a lot of parents who were able to join us from the ball field or the different activities that they have in the evenings with their kids and still be able to kind of tune in to our PTO meetings. Both principals will do a principals report each month. And in those principal reports, it's an opportunity to give you guys updates on what's happening at the middle schools. And we also ask our parents at the PTO meetings for a lot of feedback and input. So it's a great way to connect with us and continue to stay up to date and give us a little feedback and input on items that we're working on throughout the year.
All right, so looking ahead, you're going to join us here in just a few months, and we look forward to you being with us for this 3-year journey. And what we wanted to do was give you a little snapshot of what kind of unique things may be happening in our neck of the woods over the course of these next few years. Middle School Central specifically will be adding 4 portable classrooms for next year. We are meeting our capacities, so to speak, as we come into this next year. So you might see those under construction here even in late May, definitely over the summer. And we'll work through that process as we welcome new students next year. And then what that is preparing us for is some future construction where both schools are going to be looking at some additions that are being planned for both schools. And what this will do will allow us to grow. Not surprising to any of you as you drive around our wonderful community. You're seeing a lot of construction. You're seeing a lot of new housing developments and a lot of people moving here for the great experiences that we have. And we're super excited about that. So to keep up with all that growth, you will see construction hats, construction trucks, and probably some grounds being broken, and all that excitement as we look into the next 2 to 3 years. So definitely wanted to make you aware of that. Obviously, through our pandemic processes that we've been following this last year, some new educational opportunities have come, have been born. It's been really, really neat to see those things come to fruition as we've really tried to make that as robust as we possibly can as we were responding to the pandemic. We are not certain at what that will look like in the future, but what we are trying to do is review the courses that we put together for this year, see how we can make them better. And if by chance in the future, we need to have courses that we can respond to in a COVID-like scenario, that we have really good courses that we're able to do that with. And then simultaneously to that review, if we see that there is an option that is there for our families and our district chooses to go in that direction, again, it's going to be through our communication mechanism. So please make sure that you have updated your contact information in Skyward and that you're regularly checking in on our websites. And we will continue to push out and provide that information to you as we look ahead.
All right, and so we also want to point out some very important dates that are coming up here on this slide. In April and May, both of us will be visiting our schools that feed into our middle schools. So I will be visiting Sugar Grove, Pleasant Grove, and North Grove, and Mr. Smith will be visiting Maple Grove, Walnut Grove, and Center Grove Elementary. I'll also be, yeah, I said Pleasant Grove as well. So for me, so we look forward to those visits. We will visit and talk to our incoming sixth graders about middle school, life in the middle school. We'll answer any questions that they have. We're really excited this year because we can actually visit them at their school. Last year, we were not able to do that and we had to do a video. So it'll be great to see our kids again in person. Also, go ahead and make note that July 27th is kind of the next important thing to put on your calendar. That is our schedule pickup day. That is an opportunity for our students to come in, pick up their schedule and walk the halls to find all of their different classes. A lot of our sixth graders like to come in and practice their lockers as well. You'll have opportunities to practice your lockers on that day, and then also continue to walk through the halls as many times as it takes to remember where all of your classrooms are and feel very comfortable. So we just remind you again to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, download the Parent Square app to get notifications and communication as it happens. Also want to share with you that this webinar has been recorded, and so we will send those links out and put them on our websites. So if you know anyone who missed the webinar tonight, you can show them that link and so they can still access this information. And we just want to make sure and thank you for joining us this evening. We're excited to see all of you, and we are looking forward to meeting the class of 2028. I know there are a few questions, and if we have time, we would love to answer them. Stacy, do we have any questions?
Dr. Harpe, I actually have them here that I can see via phone, so I'm gonna throw them our way. First one that I see is, when will students find out if they are chosen to be in honors classes? Great question. That data actually began for us to start going through It was about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago that we started that process. All of that continues all the way up to the very end of the year and the beginning of the summer. As we look, as many of you are probably aware, we're in the middle of iLearn testing right now. So we'll continue to add those data points, and as soon as students are identified and recommended for those courses, we'll build their schedules, and you will be identified, you'll be notified after that identification process. So that, I think, takes care of that one. Dr. Harpe, I'll let you have this one. It says, when will, we mentioned the virtual tour. When will they have the opportunity to come and see us in person at this point?
Yeah, so our students will see us in, I know all of my visits will be about the first week of May. That'll be the first time that they see me. I know that your students will see you around that time as well. And then in July 27th, that is the first day that they'll be able to come in and see the school. And it'll be very important because they'll be able to get their schedules and see where all their classes are. But we also would remind you that the virtual tour will be posted on our websites very soon. So you have an opportunity to kind of get a jump on what the school looks like inside.
That 27th date is a big cross our fingers and hope that that's going to happen, because that is definitely something that we're looking forward to, but we'll want to monitor those COVID-19 procedures and expectations that we have from our county health department. So again, just look for those communications coming your way. Another question was about foreign language. Foreign language is offered to 8th grade here at Middle School Central and Middle School North, and then continues on at the high school. In our 6th and 7th grade program, again, as Dr. Harpe mentioned during that portion tonight, we focus on STEM, physical education, music, of course, and I know there was another one in the art. How did I forget art and tech ed? So those are our offerings specifically for 6th grade. Dr. Harpe, do we have options to enroll virtual or physical or both yet? I know that's a hot burning question out there, and I believe that's May, right?
Yeah, we are currently planning and looking for what that will best look like for our students coming up this year. A lot of the information that will come to us from the CDC and the state will help us in that planning. We are hoping to provide a virtual school for our students, and we'll be sending out more detailed information in May on what that looks like, including ways to get enrolled for that.
Another couple of questions, since we're still in the scheduling mode, it talks about, will students get to rotate through all of their electives in a given year? Please know that the way the rotations work, all of those electives that we mentioned, students will rotate throughout their 3 years and probably get into all of them. So no, they will not see those and go through a full rotation in a given year, because each of our elective courses, aside from music is year long. The rest of our elective courses are semester. So they'll have 2 elective time frames in a given semester. One of them will be music, and one of them will be a semester that they will rotate in. So if there are 4 other options, they'll see 2 of those in 6th grade, 2 of them in 7th grade. Then by the time they get into 8th grade, they really kind of know what they like and what they don't like out of that rotation, and really laser focus in on one. Dr. Harpe, one mentioned if we have any uniform policies. So a little bit of dress code, always a good topic when we go to see our kids in May. You want to go ahead and talk through that with our families?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great question. We do have PE uniforms, but we do not have school uniforms. So PE uniforms, when you go to when your child goes to physical education class, within the first week, the PE teachers will work with your child on how to purchase those it's just shorts and a t-shirt. and they'll work with you during the first week of school. So you won't need to worry about PE uniforms until after the first week of school. As far as a dress code, we honestly have it all kind of laid out very specifically in the student handbook. So if you want to take a look at the student handbook online, both of our schools have the current for this year posted online. And a very common question that we've gotten in recent years from students is, are we allowed to wear ripped jeans? And we just this year, we started to allow our students to wear those ripped jeans. We ask that the rips are below the fingertips when students, put their hands down by their sides. So, a lot of details in there in that student handbook.
Yep. As we go here to a couple other questions. One is, do we keep our grade levels separate? When we spoke about our team structure, taking our big school and keeping it small, that is a benefit at our schools, is it really keeps our grade levels together in pockets. And when they go out into the elective world, for the most part, they are with their actual grade levels. So yes, they stay kind of in their pods, but there are times through the passing periods throughout our day, as students come and go from lunch, that they will encounter students from other grade levels. And that is their opportunity to wave and say hi to those older brothers and sisters, those friends that they've made from their sporting world. So they do get to see the other grade levels and the other age groups that we have within our school, but in their academic worlds and their elective spaces, the mass majority of their time, they are with their grade level peers. Dr. Harpe, they asked about when we're going to talk about schedules with our wonderful fifth graders. And obviously we'll kick that off, as we said, when we go answer questions and answers as principals in May. But you want to talk about how we gather what students want to take when they come see us?
Yes, our music teachers have already begun to reach out to our kids in fifth grade on the different types of music. That's really the biggest elective that they get to choose in sixth grade is what kind of music class that they will have. The other elective, our counselors will also reach out to them and share what the other electives are: tech ed, art, PE, and STEM, and give our students an opportunity to rank their top 3 choices of those electives that they would like to take as sixth graders. And then our counselors will take all that into account, and then we'll begin scheduling early in the summer. And one thing about teams and teacher placement and all of that, our Skyward scheduling does all of that. And so it's really kind of random which team that you get on. And then the Skyward schedule helps us fill up all of the electives according to the students' ranks until we no longer have any seats in those electives. And then we'll have to move down to the student's second and third choice.
Dr. Hart brought up a great thing right there when he mentioned Skyward and summer and scheduling. Please make sure that you recognize that those schedules will not be finalized until our registration day. It never fails, somewhere in midsummer. Skyward usually shows everybody what we're doing when we are programming in the background, and everybody starts to get excited and thinks that they know what team they're going to be on and everything, and it's usually not accurate at that time. So we really want everybody to recognize that late July date, that 27th, when you come in and physically pick up that piece of paper, that is when the schedule gets real. So speaking of that schedule, someone asked how many classes students attend per day. And the middle school sixth grade schedule at Middle School North has 3 blocks of classes that they go to. And I'm going to use theirs as an example because I think it helps you better understand ours. But they will go to math for a block. They will go to language arts for a block. and then they will go to science and social studies for basically half of a block period of time. And that is their 4 core classes. And then on each day, they will also go to 2 of their elective classes. So a student will travel through 6 academic areas in their space. In ours, we do the same thing, but we just break it up throughout the day. So they still only see 6 teachers throughout the course of their day, but that is what they will need to prepare for. And their team teachers and those schedules that we talked about getting picked up will line up period by period what those classes will look like. And then when you come into the building and you're able to tour around classroom by classroom, you'll be able to follow that schedule and reduce those anxieties. Dr. Harpe, a question that is next is, and I'll let you have these twofold. One is how many students are in a classroom, and the second one is how do they access something like robotics that we do in extracurricular?
Great. Yeah, great questions again. Our classroom sizes honestly depend on the schedule and how the middle school scheduling works. You know, we offer so many different kinds of classes. Courses for our kids. You will have some classes that could be in the mid 30s. You could have some classes that are in the upper 20s. Typically, middle school and high school classes are a little bit bigger than elementary school classes. But again, it depends on how many different people that we have to schedule within all the different courses that we provide. And so, and then the other question about extracurriculars, I know around Middle School North, I believe at Central you do something very similar, is that we provide our daily TV announcements for all of our students. We talk about the different extracurricular clubs that are available to students. And then typically what we do is we put QR codes up around the school, and then our students are able to scan the QR code with their iPad and sign up for that opportunity.
I want to touch on a couple virtual questions. These are really great questions from our virtual families that are out there. So whether you're staying or thinking about staying virtual, or whether you're coming back to the physical structure of our buildings, we will do a similar question and answer for virtual students. We'll work with our virtual elementary program as to when that opportunity will be made available via Zoom so that we can interact with our virtual students with the same Q&A that we're doing with our regular students. That is probably something that Dr. Harpe and I will do together. It would probably help just like we're doing this this evening together. Also, our guidance counselors will utilize the same structure that we talked about for reaching out to our elementaries for those course selections and trying to find out that information. They will do the same thing with virtual. So that timeline will probably just be a little bit delayed from when we do it in person. We'll do the in-person physical plant things first, and then come and follow up with our virtual folks. So don't worry there. We absolutely will want to get that information to our virtual families and virtual students in the same capacity that we're doing for our physical plant students in the traditional model. Looking through here, Dr. Harpe, I think the next one is, see, I think we've answered most of them that are on the virtual side. If you are from out of district, there's one, out of district, and how would they contact us for honors programming, music preferences, and enrolling in classes if they are not a person who is currently in our district? Dr. Harpe, you want to take that one?
Sure, yeah. So past practice, we've actually gotten the enrollment lists of out-of-district transfer students, usually early June. And then we have an opportunity to look at this list of students who are transferring into our schools. And then we typically will reach out to them to ask for their top choices and include them in with our scheduling practice that, like I said, typically takes place mid to late June.
Yep. And as far as that honors piece goes, I know that there is a summer opportunity when you enroll as a new student. If there is a need for any kind of honors testing that needs to take place, there is a designated day in our summer that they will share that information upon you registering completely here in our district. Another question that just came in is, will they have study hall? So both of our schools, we do not have study halls built into our schedule. But if we see that students need some extra time and extra support, we at Middle School Central have a homeroom time. I believe Middle School North still calls it Pride, which is their 30-minute time frame in the morning that we get students settled. We work on character education lessons. We focus in on some of those extra time and support needs that some students need to be successful in their learning. So we find those times within our school day, but we do not designate a specific chunk of time for students to just study. And then I think the last question that we've had coming in here is, sports discussed earlier, is this open to all sixth graders? And that is a wonderful question. Davin, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so in the fall, the sports that are available for sixth graders are cross country and golf for the girls, girls golf, and then cross country for both boys and girls. In the wintertime, wrestling is open to sixth graders. In the springtime, boys golf and then track and field for both boys and girls. Have I missed one, Mr. Smith?
Did you touch on swimming? Did we talk swimming for the winter?
We have a fantastic swim team. We love our swimmers. They're combined into one awesome team that is just winning every year. And our sixth graders, boys and girls, are able to try out for our swim team as well.
Awesome. I think we've got one last question, and I'll take this one here. They asked if there are before and after care options for middle schoolers. Any of those options, they are not available under our roof at each school. So I know there are some local places around in our community. Honey Grove, I know, is one. I know there definitely some of those places that you can look into, but that is something that is not offered at our middle school on-site buildings for right now. As I kind of wait to see if there's any more questions that populate here, I just want to echo all of the things that Dr. Harpe said in closing. I'm going to go to our last little slide here. We are so excited to welcome the class of 2028. Can you believe it? It is going to come faster than you know it. It is so exciting to see that we're welcoming another group of students into our middle world. And we're so excited to have you as sixth graders incoming, and we are so excited to have you as families. And I'm hoping that what we showed once again is that these two individuals that you've seen on your screen tonight work very hard collaboratively to just make an amazing middle school experience for all of our Center Grove students and families. And we are so happy that you took time out of your schedule this evening to spend some time with us. If you have any other questions, give them to your fifth graders and have them ready to ask us as Dr. Harpe comes to his feeder schools in early May. And I will be headed to our feeder schools in mid-May. And I know we're excited to put our eyes on all of you wonderful young people that are looking forward to enter into grade 6 and be with us for the next 3 years as we continue to build that foundation and bridge from Middle School Central and Middle School North right over to the high school to help you be that positive, productive community individual that's going to go on to greater things as the future class of 2028. Dr. Harpe, anything else before we wrap it up?
No, just once again, thank you for joining us. This year, we have truly missed our parents and caregivers with the COVID restrictions, not being able to have our parents and caregivers in our buildings. We so look forward to having those restrictions lifted at some point. We don't know when at this point, but man, we really want to see you all again in our buildings. But also, nevertheless, just know that we are here. We want to connect with you. You're an important partner in your child's education. And please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you need anything.
Have a great evening. See you soon.